Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'll stop. All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah, and this evening during my Friday 7 p.m. Central board game stream, we're showing you some Marvel Champions, the card game. And I do apologize for my stream last time. There was technical difficulties with a webcam I was using when I was swapping out equipment, so I'm using my phone, so it should be a lot better quality sound and picture this time around, which normally I get actually really awesome stuff using my Apple phone, actually. But yeah, so I'll be sure to check the sound right now, make sure it's legit, but definitely, if you like what you see today during my unboxing of Marvel Champions, be sure to follow on twitch.tv/Ismortah, as well as the social medias as well. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think it's fine. Let's turn this. That's got to be a little closer to the phone. All right. Yeah, so again, this evening, it's going to be an unboxing, so I'm just going to show you, just like what I said, what's in the box, all the goodies, and close-ups of all the cards, the stuff you get. This isn't going to be a how to play the game. That could be a feature stream, or there's already good how to play videos on the interwebs. But do expect in the future different unboxings of other expansions for Marvel Champions, as well as, because this is a 4-player game, solo plays of the game as well. It's actually a really cool time as well, because one of the cool heroes you can play as, just also in the core game of Marvel Champions, is She-Hulk, which I'm a huge fan of now. I'm getting more and more to the fandom as watching the show, and expect a solo play of She-Hulk as well. Cool, well, let's open this puppy up and see what it's all about. And if not familiar, this is, you see here, an LCG, which is coined from Fantasy Flight Games, which just means living card game. What that means, again, is this isn't a game that you're collecting random booster packs to get random cards. This is when you buy something that's LCG, you always get the same cards every time you get one of these boxes. So it's always standardized what you get. But then once you have the game, you can build your own decks and stuff from the cards that are in it. But it's always structured exactly what cards you get. It's not random. That's what it means. But yeah, the core game, if I recall hearing about it, because I haven't played this game before, I just heard a lot of great things, is you get multiple heroes, but when you play the game, there's 4 different aspects a hero can be, and the other supporting cards you get in order to build a deck, you have enough that you can build one deck of every aspect. So if you want to do multiple heroes of the same aspect, which is kind of like basically like the type of role you play. Think of like, are you someone that removes threats, someone that heals, someone that supports, or someone that does damage? Think of like classes in a raid: tank, healer, support, damage, that sort of thing. You just don't have enough cards to make multiple in the core set. Now when you get expansions, not only do you get enough cards to play whatever that hero is in the expansion, but then you can, just like Arkham Horror, you can mix and match cards. So then you can have like multiple heroes that are playing like the Justice aspect, for example. But if I recall, it's 6 heroes, and we'll check, but you only have 1 of each aspect. So you have options what you want to do. Did I show you the back of the box? I'll show you the front. Here again is the front. And then here's the back, for example, but we'll dig into it. get tokens, a life counter, which is always great because using dice to track health is prehistoric at this point. Because someone knocks the dice, what was your life? You have no idea. Cool, so typical Fantasy Flight, you have a rules reference for, so this glossary of all of the rules you can look up the minutia of, but then you also have a learn to play book that shows pictures and step-by-step how you do different things in the game. And I definitely love pictures because pictures are 1,000 words as far as, oh, that's what the setup is. Oh, this is what you do. Like I said, this isn't a how to play video, so I'm not going to go through the how to play the game. Just showing you what's in the box. So let's just get everything out, and then I'll dig through these one by one. All right, so we have learn to play and rules reference. Here you got a bunch of tokens. Here we have some mini cards, which looks like different status effects. And I'll hold it up to the screen, don't worry. These are plastics for the dials you see here that I have to construct. I might construct it on the screen. It's not like it's complicated, we'll see. And then here's all the cards. Now what's cool, I have to say, about, and I believe they also did this with Arkham Horror, is, but I do have to say, this is a design problem. The fact that you can't fundamentally get these original cards out, it's not the easiest. But you see here, they have, even though you put your core cards here, let's say, here you have slots for all the different expansions for Marvel Champions. So as you build your library of cards, you can store them all in the same core box and throw away the expansion packaging. And then you have slots here so that you can grab the decks, which is pretty cool. Oh, speaking of which, like I said, I've never pulled this out before. The first card I see that was stacked like this is Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. I tell you, man, she is the shit. But no, one of the cool things in this game is as you play, you actually alternate. Again, like this is an unboxing. I've never played the game. Just tell you the cool things that I've heard about and seen about the game is you alternate back and forth between for your hero being your alter ego or your superhero self, and so you flip back and forth doing stuff as each of those variants of that character, which is also cool. You also defeat baddies while at the same time trying to thwart the whoever the supervillain is and whatever they're doing. But it's cool because then you're not only fighting like the supervillain and whatever their plot is, but you're also fighting other bad guys, and you're also calling in other heroes to assist. So it's there's a lot of multiple heroes and villains coming at the same time. It's not just like She-Hulk versus Rhino, for example. It could be I'm playing as She-Hulk against Rhino's whatever mission or threat he's doing, but then there's other villains and heroes that come into the game and participate as well. What's up, Knackers? Thanks for viewing. Cool. So let's dig into this stuff. All right. So again, like this critical storage, I believe what you actually do long term for the case is use these for all the tokens and the dials, and then these slots for all of your cards. So that's why this was a pain when this was originally stacked, just because this is not meant for storing cards, it's meant for storing your tokens. All of your cards are put here. But it's pretty cool, because you use this to hold all your shit. For example. Alright, let's just double back to these guides right quick. So again, this is the Learn to Play book. That this really will have you probably do an introductory, very simple game just to learn. And then also has graphics, like I said, on how to play, what's in it, how to construct the dials to keep track of your hit points and the supervillain's hit points. And just like step by step how you do and different things. And also how to build decks, because the whole point of this game is also building decks. And what's cool is like, it's just you building hero decks, and then depending on the difficulty and who you want to fight, building the villain deck. But whereas the villain decks are typically, they tell you how to build them, the hero decks, you can build it however the fuck you want. So when you get multiple expansions, you can have Jennifer Walters' deck however you want it, or like Captain Marvel, for example. But then also, it's a multiplayer game. You can play it by yourself, but also you can play with other people. So people can bring whatever hero they want to play as. I can bring whatever hero I want to play as, and then we can just then go fight this mission as whatever your favorite character is, which is pretty cool. Obviously, you know, certain hero combinations are probably better at different mission combinations, but if unless you're doing a super difficult variant of that encounter, it kind of, yeah, I don't think it matters so much. It's, you know, it's more like you have an advantage in a certain arena, but you still have to do multiple different type of arenas to get through an encounter. Like, you still have to protect your heroes, you still have to do damage, you still have to defeat the actual plot. So, you know, you kind of have to do it all anyway. But it's definitely more manageable if you play multiple heroes and not just solo, just because you can have someone do something while you're doing something else, right? Anyway, we'll get more into gameplay when A, I learn how to play the game, and B, when I do a gameplay video in the future. So this booklet is the rules reference again. So this is where if you want to look up a particular rule, you can look at the index in the back and then flip to it here. So just line by line, spelling out exactly what the rules are. But if you want to know how something's done, because you see this all bullet point, a lot of verbose rules, I recommend doing the Learn to Play. Okay, enough of that shit. All right, so here's tokens. Let me just open this up to show you what's in here. And then I think I'll try building at least one of these dials, just for example, so you can see how they work, in case you've never seen a... what the fuck I mean by dials. Like, if you've played Star Wars X-Wing, you would know what I'm talking about, because that uses a dial. It's basically the same type of construction. Sup, GR Monarchy? How's it going? Thanks for reviewing. GR Monarchy. Sorry about that. Let me open up tokens right quick. I have to say, one of the things I see just at a glance when I've seen Marvel Champions and I've played at least one game of Arkham Horror is I kind of like the feel of Marvel Champions better, just because for a deck builder, just because it's a little less set up than Arkham Horror. Arkham Horror, you're building so many different decks, and it's so structured on how the game interacts and plays as you start navigating the space, which is great, you know, for, you know, a story-based game. It just it's just this. The setup versus what you get to play, I feel, is kind of off balance. But this is like, you could come into the game with already your decks made, and then just say, we're doing this encounter, play. Without all this setup that you kind of have to do for like a new mission of Arkham. But that is my thoughts. I've also only played one game of Arkham, so maybe what I'm saying is total bullshit. But it just seems like there's a little less setup, and you kind of do whatever you want. All right, so here are the tokens. So there's a lot of different tokens in the game, so I want to show you what is in here. Both sides. And then here are the dials. All right, so let me see if, for instance, I can't make one of these dials for you right quick. And then the most important part, I'll show you all these other cool cards. So, looking at this, we'll just do the hit point dial, for example, very quick. So you get there's a villain hit point dial and then the player hit point dial. That's why you have 5. The villain's is bigger. That honestly didn't have to do. It's kind of like overproduction, but it's cool that it looks different. Just aesthetically, it looks different. Sure. All right. So you need 1 of these, 2 of these, and that's it. All right. So let me show you, for instance. So this guy. What I like about dials instead of dice is just because you could always keep a value at a certain number, and then you can just change it up or down, and it's just it keeps it static. And it's easy to change. Whereas the dice, you have to spend time trying to find the fucking number, and if someone hits the dice, you don't know what the number is. You know, it's a very rudimentary way to keep track of your health. And a dial is better than a bunch of tokens because you don't have to do fucking math. You just turn to the number. Not that I'm against doing math, it's a quality of life thing doing math instead of strategy math, like, oh, how many units do I want to take to defeat a certain number of units? That's constructive math. Me saying I have to do math just so I can fundamentally do something to play the game, that's quality of life bullshit. That's like total waste. Yeah, they're like, yeah, Anacros bring up that there's dials in a House of Haunted Hill. I like the idea. It's just, and the theme of House of Haunted Hill, it's just how they executed how you make their dials it was kind of a fail. Because like they had like these cool, show an example, like they had these cool like coffin looking plastic pieces that then you put on the edges of the dial, and so you just shifted it to get different values. That was a cool idea. The problem is how they made those coffin pieces. They weren't always the same pinch, and so sometimes they were loose and didn't even stay on the fucking dial. So it's like, well, if it doesn't stay on the goddamn number, then I don't know what number it is, you know? Or it was so tough you couldn't even push it. So it's like they had the right idea, and it definitely looked cool, but the execution was kind of wasn't the best. But I noticed in newer versions of House of Haunted Hill and some like Etsy versions that people made, they improved upon the design. But I definitely agree that like dials, way to go. Or trackers, like even a tracker that you're sliding something on different numbers, like, and that's really more what House of Haunted Hill was. D&D spinoff? Yeah, I could take a look and think about it in a sec. Let me just get through this unboxing video first, but I definitely talk about that in the comments if you want. Monarchy, for sure. I just don't want this to be a long stream. But I do want to finish building this dial to show you, in case no one's seen the dial before. One memento. No, I actually am interested in D&D. I just haven't played much, haven't had good groups or consistent groups, so it just wasn't the best experience, I would say. But definitely interested. It is cool content. Actually, my name is Ismortah. It was actually based on a D&D character I created a long time ago, and I just wanted to keep it alive, so I've been using it for everything that I do. Alright, so let me finish putting this together. Should I give an example of what this is all about? And you've noticed the style on these tokens and the cards. It's very comic book-like. You have really like, just artistically like how the numbers are big and kind of sway and have like action to them. It kind of feels like you're looking at comic books, which is pretty cool. Oh, it's a Gundam spin-off D&D? That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of, especially nowadays, a lot of different themed roll and writes you can do. Like another one that's actually interesting to me that I've seen is, God, what was it called? Fuck. But like the vampire theme one, I think it's called LA by Night or something. It's just cool, like how you, or even Call of Cthulhu. There's different ways you play the game that's a little different from classical how D&D mechanics work. But your role playing as those different archetypes is fun. Oh, I put this together, but I put together the wrong way. Give me a sec. It's like I could. All you do is look at the picture. The picture shows right here. That's exactly how you do it. All you have to do is look at the picture. Oh my god. Just look at the picture. What am I doing? Give me a sec. That's why it's cool about having a picture instead of trying to describe by words. It's like, just look at the picture. Look at the picture. That's all you gotta do. Alright, let me try this again. God. Alright. You have to have the number situated so you can see them. Minor detail. There we go. This is better. Cool. Make sure I didn't do this stupid or something. Cool. All right. So here's an example of one of the dials. So you can see here on the back, it's just the plastic just pinches on both sides, and you can just turn the dial to any number you want, forward and back, to easily keep track at all times. And then you can throw this around all you want. Doesn't matter. You're still at, well, in this case, 84. Cool. So I'll leave that out so you take a look at it. All right, so now let's get to more nitty gritty. So yes, you have dials, you got a bunch of tokens, which we don't know what that does yet, but we'll find out later episodes. Let's open up some of this other stuff. All right, so these are, I believe, status cards. So I definitely like the theme of not only for these status effects do you have a different word, but you also have a different effect coming off the word and a different color. So you'll never accidentally associate one status effect with the other. You see confused, stunned, and tough all have a completely different effect coming off the word's different, the color's different. So you'll know when you see it in play that, oh, it's stunned, or oh, it's confused. So like, even if you're colorblind, you can tell just from the shape, oh, that's stunned, that's confused. So that's great design there. My only feedback on this is they should have done a color other than yellow and orange, because the color-wise is a little close. I would have done a different color like a blue or a red. This somewhere else in the color spectrum, because this is kind of close to it needed to be, when all three could have been equally spaced out on the color spectrum. But that's just my game design 2 cents. Otherwise, they definitely work. It just like at a glance, you're just looking at color and not the words. Like for this example, looking at this baggie, you don't know whether it's stunned or tough, because the colors yellow and orange look so close that if you have shaded light, it's hard to tell. All right. All right, next let's start opening it, which is the bulk of this game, the cards. Living LCG, because it's all the cards are sized LCG, is the idea. So you can just easily hoard, sure, when you can have a lot, hold the entire game. Kind of like, what's the other game I have? The game Smash Up, kind of similar design. It's all cards, and in the box you can store all the expansions in the core game. Similar deal. Right, which one's gonna open first? Right now, sure. Yeah, no, back to House on Hill. That's actually one of my favorite games still of all time. And that was actually also my gateway game into modern day board gaming. I was just like so impressed with the game. It's this guy that I saw playing had miniatures of all of the monsters you fight, which you don't get. He doesn't have them. Oh my god, it was such a cool experience. And every time you play the game, it's a different story. But then you don't have an elaborate setup at all, like you do, for example, Arkham Horror. So it was a lot of fun. All right, so a bazillion cards. So let's go ahead and open all these up because really, like I said, this is unboxing, so I want to show you all the cards. So I want to go through all the cards briefly, but show you what's in all of these decks, what you get in totality when you get the core game. Yeah, GR, I do have Discord. I will, think about how to proceed with that, but I'll let you know. Definitely about the whole D&D thing. It is something I'm interested in. Like I said, or you could just leave a comment or link about it as well, whichever. All right, get all these opened up. The order of this stuff really doesn't matter until you start making like pre-built like a villain deck. Then you can just say which villain you want to fight. Or like pre-built heroes, because like, the whole thing is you can build the deck. So right now, since I don't know what's what, mixing cards doesn't really matter. I'm sure the game also tells you for the preliminary game exactly how to build decks so that you can just insta-play. All right, so we got all this open. Now I'll show you all the cards. I'm going to change the angle right quick, just because since I have to dig through the cards, I think it might be simpler for me to just take the cards up to the phone itself. All right. So again, don't worry about the minutia. Trying to read. If you want to read any of these cards, you can just pause the stream or pause the video when it's up as a highlight on Twitch or also on YouTube on Shadow Balance Games. But I just want to be able to show all the cards up the screen so you can see what they are. Because there's a lot of cards. It is a card game. All right, so here we go. So, oh, I see. They are kind of, so, okay, so this is the starter deck for Rhino. So it would be a villain deck in this case. I don't know what all these cards mean necessarily, the different variants, just because, like I said, I haven't played, nor their significance on gameplay. But again, that's something I can go through when I start doing solo runs of the game. I just want to show you what you get, to get you excited to see if this is something for you, or what heroes you might want to play as when you play the game. So I'm going kind of quick, like I said, just because you can freeze the screen, and I want to show you all of the cards you get. visually. And there's a lot of cards. So. But as you see, there's attacks, there's schemes, there's threat. I forget what the life points are called. We'll get that. We'll see that here in a sec. But yeah, like you see, it's not just the main villain, Rhino. There's also all these other supporting, you know, henchmen or other villains you fight. Just like there's other heroes calling for aid, or multiple heroes that can play the game at the same time. And honestly, how these cards are made, they're a little more flimsy than, like, say, Magic cards. So I would even argue that these cards you probably could shuffle as well if you wanted to more easily randomize the deck. They're kind of allows you to do that, I'll say. Built for it. Typically, geez, almost spilled all my cards. Typically, CCGs are made with a higher quality card stock, just because they're just, like you hear by the name, they're collectible card games. So there's high value to having individual cards. Whereas this, the individual cards don't necessarily have intrinsic value. It's allows you to do stuff in the game. Now, when you get expansions, obviously they have value because you bought an expansion, but you know, the quality of the card. But I do like the art on the cards I've seen so far. It's, like I said, it's very comic booky. Yeah, I'll check out the Discord thing later and yeah, see what it's all about. See what you're up to, Monarchy. Oh, looks like we got some, I was gonna say Venom Snack, but that's sort of the face he's making. I have to say, what these cards kind of remind me of is collecting Marvel cards back in the day. Just like, you know, having comic book art on these little cards. Back in my day. All right, so that is the starter deck for Rhino. I could see why they built it that way. That way you can just immediately play. Like, you don't even have to shuffle it. You can just go. Maybe it's the intent. So I will keep that separate for the time being. Just that might be the intent for, like, learn to play a game, for example. There might have been a rhyme to... Yeah, you know, that may have been. Because, like, these two decks are very small. So maybe they gave you a pre-built Spider-Man Captain Marvel as a starter deck. That even says starter deck. Heh. Learn to read, right? And this is a starter mission. Whereas then here you have all the other villain shit you can do. And here you have all the other characters you can play with. So, there you go. That being said, I actually might want to do, in my scheduled streams, one of the starter plays before I do She-Hulk, just because this will teach me how the hell to learn the game and what's important. And then I can build a deck based on metagame, what would work, sort of thing. Good to know, so I'll keep it separate. Good to know. All right, so now I'm going to show you the starter deck for Captain Marvel. Like I said, I believe in the core game, you get 6 heroes, 2 of 2 different aspects and 1 of each of the different aspects. So you get 1 of each aspect at least, but you have 6 heroes. But there's only 4 aspects. And you, like I said, you only get enough support cards to make 1 deck of each aspect. But that's why you can also get expansions to build more effective decks and to play as different heroes. But yeah, for the pre-built starter deck that it gives it to you to learn to play, it's Rhino, and then they give you Spider-Man and Captain Marvel. But in total, you have, I believe, I don't remember how many villains. I want to say 4, and then it's 6 heroes, I believe. But it is nice that when you just want to learn, play, and jump and have fun, you don't have to build a deck, you don't have to shuffle a deck. Well, I mean, you probably have to shuffle it, but you don't have to make it. You can just sit down and play. That's pretty cool. But I have to say, part of the fun, like, you know, whenever I play like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, is just building the fucking decks. So the fact that this game's all about building decks, that's pretty cool. And it's not a deck builder, but it's you build decks. So that's what I'm comparing more to like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something. Like you want to min-max the deck and then you play with it. But it's not a game that you manipulate and build a deck as you're playing the game. You build a deck before you play the game. That's really what makes somebody a deck builder, is when you build a deck. A deck builder is during the game, not before the game. Deck builders, I'm not a fan of, to be honest, only because I hate shuffling during a game, and it's all about that, so that's why it doesn't quite do it for me. Maybe it would be different if it was like an electronic version of deck builders, but it's not a fan. Well, that character, I don't know her name, but she kind of looks like Cheetah from DC. That's what makes me think of. But yeah, you definitely get a shit ton of cards. That is 100%. And I'll check the rulebook here after I finish going through this star deck for Captain Marvel to see, just to let you know how many heroes and different villains encounters there are. Because it's not just you fight a villain, it's you could fight different villains, but then there's different schemes different villains can do. So there's a lot of different combinations, even if you keep fighting the same villain. Plus, just like Arkham Horror, you can change the difficulty level also when you start making more advanced decks or building decks. So there's definitely replayability. English. There's definitely replayability just in that as well. But yeah, everyone that I know that's played Marvel Champions swears by how fun the game is. I'm just like, god damn. Since I'm all into like all this Marvel shit recently, I'm just like, fine. That's why you see now I'm dipping in the Crisis Protocol. Now I'm dipping in the Marvel Champion. Just get my Marvel fix. Here's Avengers Mansion. So there's locations in the game as well. And also note, I'm just showing you one side of the cards also. So I've just noticed that some of these cards have different colored backs depending on the type of card they are in your deck. or something that just stays in play. So just note that I'm only showing you one-sided cards. Like some of these cards like have two sides. Like for example, the hero, and then their alter ego. So that I'll circle back and show you for like Captain Marvel. Because one side would have the hero, the other side would have the alter ego, if I recall. Okay, so for example, yeah, so like here's Carol Danvers, but then when you flip, Captain Marvel. Boom. All right, so that's the Captain Marvel starter deck. Now we'll look at the Spider-Man starter deck. Again, here's the dial. Flip to your favorite number. It's just cool. It's easy to build, and it's an easy way to solve a frustrating problem. Okay. Does it give a total of what's in the game? You get 343 cards. 199 of those are player cards, 137 counter cards, and 7 reference cards. But out of that, does it say how many heroes and villains? I don't think it says at a glance, which is weird. Tells you how many cards, but not how many heroes and villains at a glance. Unless it's buried in here somewhere. Yeah, I think it's buried. Okay, so the heroes you get are... Was it 5? Oh, it's 5. Okay. So you get Black Panther, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and She-Hulk. But Iron Man and She-Hulk both use the aggression aspect, so you can't right now build a deck with both because you only have enough aggression support cards to make one. Whereas Black Panther is protection, Captain Marvel is leadership, and Spider-Man is justice. Okay, anyway, let's show more cards. We got like more cards to go through. This unboxing, I'm going to show you it all. So this is the beginning of the Spider-Man starter deck. So you can just sit down and play. Boom, this and go. I believe there's 60 card decks. Here's Peter Parker, and of course, boom, me, mommy, me, Spider-Man. Of course, you gotta have Black Cat, his on again, off again squeeze. Show you some more of these cards. So I will take probably a couple minute break just after I show you the Spider-Man decks because my back's kind of killing me with staying in this position, leaning over. But then I will go through the rest of the cards that you can build other stuff from. What I'm showing you so far, like I said, are all the star stuff you can sit down and instantly play. I want to show you what else you get in the box. You'd think that'd be an easy way to stop Spider-Man if, however, I know every time they've reinvented Spider-Man, they keep changing how he makes his web. You know, so it's like all over the place. But it's funny because like if it's truly just something he creates, you could just monopolize and buy out all materials he uses to make his web to stop Spider-Man. Because like that's one thing that makes Spider-Man so tough to beat is his goddamn web. And if you just take that out, then all he has really is his ability to avoid shit with his spider sense and his agility. So just buy out all his web. No web for Spider-Man. Webless. for some reason I had a network problem sync, but I caught it, so I'll just continue and I'll have a part 1 and part 2 for the stream. I'll just show you the last card in case it cut out before. But yeah, if you catch this on a YouTube later, I'll just have a part 1 and part 2. Not sure what happened there. And also, like I said, when we do future streams when I'm playing the game, since I'll learn the game by then, I'll go into more detail on what these different cards mean and how they work together. Okay, I'm just going to take a minute break. I should have just took a break when I was in between the streams. I didn't think about it. Just to get a little bit of water, rest my back a little bit. So I'll be back in a minute or two, and then we'll go through. These are everything left to show you. I want to show you these cards. Show you the rest of the goods. More heroes and more villain cards to go through. I'll be back in 60 seconds. All right, we've got some more comic book goodness to go through. All right, because I kind of want to do it so hard, let's go ahead and start with Jennifer Walters. Attorney at law. Oh, actually, it says here, attorney and gamma. That's pretty funny. All right, so like, I'm sure these might be sorted by aspect and cards specifically for that character, but I'm just gonna go through them one by one. She-Hulk. She's got a lot of 1-2 punches. so looks like that's her cards. Now we have, looks like some Iron Man stuff. There's Tony Stark. I am Iron Man. And the reason why it's probably abbreviated for hers is probably just because, like I said, there's two different heroes that use aggression. And so behind Iron Man's character cards are probably all of the aggression cards, support cards, probably. Because you need to make a 60-card deck, but depending on your role, you basically want the role's type of cards with the character. And then you have to have certain cards with your core character. Like, I think you have to have, like, Nemesis cards and, you know, Ego card, or whatever they're called. But, like, you have to have certain types of cards associated with the character always in the character deck. But then you have cards based on how the deck plays. And since each aspect kind of plays its own unique way, you kind of tailor to that, I'm supposing. Looks like it's got some Wakanda supports. Cards included. Oh yeah, that makes more sense because of oh yeah. Duh. It's because that's the Black Panther's cards. Durr. Idiot. T'Challa. Black Panther. Durr. And they even looked purple. I'm like, why are they purple? I think it's more because purple is the color of protection. But yeah, it's Black Panther's stuff. It's cool. It's kind of like you're living a comic book when you're playing the game, looking at all different art and stuff. It's pretty fun. Or I'd say it looks like to be fun. So it looks like they had it sorted by the different characters you can play, and then now these are all the additional support cards for the different aspects, it looks like. If I were to venture a guess. It is interesting. Like, I wonder if like one of the games that I'm designing, if I should just go like full-blown, actually a card game. Because it is interesting, like just how simple you can carry it and store it if they were just all cards and then like a bag of tokens. No other like game board or player board or mat or anything. It is an interesting idea just from a usability perspective. They can just have like just a ton of cards and just you can even just flip through and just look at them for fun. It is an interesting idea. If one of my designs I'm working on, just say, hey, just go actually cards. We shall see. Currently I do not, but then again, I haven't published anything new as of yet. So something to think about. Got some Widow. Lots of cards. Yeah, and if you're looking at total videos that I've posted today on Twitch, you might notice this is actually technically the third one. Technically, the first one was right when it went live. I instantly turned it off because I realized I had just a couple systems I wanted to turn off, so I'm not notified. So, in case if you look at a total count, this is technically the third. Would be a third video posted. You'll see on Twitch, but it'll be. This is part 2 of the stream. Yeah, no, man, these... What's up, Ollie Dragon? No, yeah, right now I'm showing you, if you're just joining, this is Marvel Champions, the core game, and you get just shy of 400 cards in the core game. So right now I'm going through the last of the 400 cards one by one to show you what's in the box. You get a shit ton of cards. You get, I forget how many villains, because I haven't got there yet. I want to say 3 or 4 villains, and you get 5 heroes. But enough to make 4 different decks for heroes. So you get a lot of shit. But yeah, the art is really cool. It's really comic booky, which I like. And even though it's themed around 5 different heroes, all the support cards, it kind of looks like this spans the entire Marvel universe. So it's kind of like splash, boom, here's Marvel. It's pretty cool. And I'm just quickly showing like an overview of what all the different cards are. If you want to see in more detail, you can pause during the stream or when this hits YouTube. So I'm not obsessing over it, because you can always check it out at your leisure. All right, let me just make sure. Nope, yeah, I'm almost at the end of this. Okay, I was about to say, like, I did accidentally start doing the same thing twice today. Some of these cards I've just seen before just because they were in Captain Marvel or a Spider-Man decks is why. Kind of like Strange of like, yeah, scary Strange. I've seen that before. Genius. It's more like Psycho. Cool. Glad you can see. Yeah, this setup is definitely better than my setup I did for the Crisis Protocol unboxing last stream, which is honestly a total fail. But yeah, don't worry about that. Like, when I show you the models for Crisis Protocol in future weeks, I'll circle back and show you other stuff in box also. Which, honestly, I think now would be better because Crisis Protocol is mostly miniatures, and now they'll all be assembled. So that'll be I'll definitely do a take 2 on that, so you can see what's in it. All right, so that's this stack. Nice, I've got one more stack to go through, and that's everything in the box. I know I didn't go for one of the status cards. That's because they're all honestly fucking the same. There's only 3 different types. All right. Let me just get a swig of more energy drink. Then we'll blast through the rest of this. I just want you to know, in case you're curious, exactly what's in the box, in case you're trying to min-max when you're shopping on certain cards you want to get from expansions to build a deck. You know how many of certain types of cards you're getting in the box. Like, for example, if you want to play Genius cards from Doctor Strange, how many Genius cards do you get? Now, maybe you're also maxed at how many of the same type of card you can have in a deck. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't looked at the rules, but you can see what you get. But you do actually need the core game to just play the game. This is because you need the tokens and the dials and the status cards. But villain decks you get with expansions, and hero cards you get with expansions. So really, that's kind of the only reason why you need the core game is for the punch and status cards. I would probably argue. And like I said, again, some of these cards might have multiple backs, like this one does. I'm just showing you one side of the cards. Certain cards happen to have something on the back, but majority of them don't because it's a card game with the deck face down. So I believe it's only the schemes and the main hero that's double-sided. The hero, again, is double-sided because they have alter ego. Scheme, it's because I think, depending on what happens in the game, the scheme either advances and they go the other side or something. Yeah, I guess I could make it. Yeah, it's a montage, that's true. Yeah, ton of cards. Ton of cards. And like I said, I believe expansions, you typically get 60 cards. And then, I believe, maybe more than that. And then there's all the scenario packs that you get multiple heroes and additional villains. And those you get a ton of cards. And like I said, you can store all of your crap in the same box. So the core game would just take up like this much. You can still spit. All these can be scenarios and expansions, and then all your tokens go here. So you don't need another storage solution for the game. Unless you buy like an up-teen number of shit for this game. It's like Pokemon cards. What do you mean? Like, to be honest, I've never played Pokemon. It doesn't play like Pokemon. Like, it's not a versus game. It's everyone plays against the game. So if you play more than one player, you're all playing against the villain. the villain is AI, what happens? You're trying to beat the villain deck, and what happens? What triggers? It's a co-op game. It's also, like I said earlier in the stream, it's a living card game, not a collectible card game like Pokemon. The card quality is a little different too. It's a little more flimsy card, so it's more conducive of shuffling, whereas you don't necessarily want to shuffle Pokemon cards. Like, you don't want to shuffle them like poker cards because you might bend them and lose their value, sort of thing. I have to admit, I do not remember what's the first card I looked at in this deck. Let me try to figure that real quick. I don't want to accidentally show you the same whole deck twice. Hold on a sec. One of the first ones was Scheme or something like that, right? If I recall. Oh no, it was Rhino. Rhino was the top. Yeah, the level 3 version of Rhino. That's what it was. Okay, cool. I just want to be like infinitely, hey, I keep showing you cards. It just never ends. Oh shit, yeah, here's another villain other than Rhino right here. Here we go. Ultron. That's gonna be cool. Yep, so you definitely get Rhino and Ultron. That we now know. I don't know how many villains as of yet, but I know there's at least 2. And like I said, there's also multiple schemes per villain. So like you can fight the same villain multiple times, fight different schemes, or fight different difficulty levels also. Like these I'm showing you, for example, are different schemes. For instance. Wow, Ultron, I forgot about that. That's pretty cool. I think I'll definitely learn to play Rhino because Ultron's one to be like, oh man. Maybe I'll do like Captain Marvel versus Rhino or something, but then I'll do She-Hulk versus Ultron or something. Maybe. Definitely want to do She-Hulk. But yeah, it's a versus game. It's think of like Arkham Horror, which is also LCG. You can have 1 to 4 players and you're playing against the game. This, you're trying to defeat the supervillain scheme or knock out the supervillain, whereas Arkham, you're trying to advance through the story. Yeah, so it looks like 2 different villains and 5 different heroes. And enough cards to make 4 different hero decks that can play at the same time, it looks like. I knew sometime in the stream I'd drop a card. At least I didn't drop all the cards. That would have sucked. Drone factory. Let's see, I know because where I live, I could probably find a group to play board games. I'm sort of in the board game mecca in Minnesota. But Marvel Champions, you can it's 1 to 4 players, so you could also play it solo. It just, honestly, the ideal game is probably 2 to 3 is what I'm told. Just because that way you could have different characters helping out different things instead of having one character try to do everything. And I'm also told 4 players is too many, just because the value you get for adding another player versus how more difficult you make the game, or the fact you're making the game not really more difficult, but longer than it needs to be, because you have a whole nother player taking turns. It's not ideal. So I'm told the sweet spot is actually 2 to 3 players. But you can play it solo. Just like Arkham Horror. Which is also made by Fantasy Flight. Surprise, surprise. Why the games are so similar. But yeah, almost at the end of this deck, it's probably like 15, 20 more cards. But yeah, I like the art. Like I said, it really reminds you of collecting Marvel cards back in the day, like in the 90s or 2000. It's pretty cool. Silver Age comics, I should say. But yeah, there will be future streams of, well, I was going to expansions that I got, but certain expansions, a scenario, and other things as they release, for sure. As well as live play of Marvel Champions, so definitely look for that, future streams. As well as Crisis Protocol, which is also Marvel. That's the Marvel miniatures game, whereas this is the Marvel LCG. I'm still assembling the rest of Crisis Protocol, but that should be done in probably a couple weeks for the base game. And like I said, what's cool about this is, like I said, you get all the cards that you need to play. At least 4 different heroes. So you can just have people, you can just have 3 other people just come and play and just be like, here's your deck. What character do you want to be? Which is cool. Because you can pre-make the decks even before people sit down and play. So you just tell someone to play, give them the deck, and go. Same with the villain decks. You can have 2 different villain decks just pre-made. Ready to rock. Which makes MODOK happy. Whoa, MODOK. No, I was going to say, is that another villain? No, it looks like it's a minion. So I believe it's 2 different villains in the core box. And we're about at the end, and be sure, if you like what you saw, be sure to follow here on twitch.tv/Ismortah, as well as social medias, including YouTube, where I'll post videos, Twitter, where I post updates and changes to the schedule, and Instagram for this fun pictures that I post. But if you want to see live, you want to check out Monday, Friday, 7 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/Ismortah. Cool, that is all of the cards you get, which is a metric ton. And that's everything in the box. So, yeah, this is Marvel Champions, the card game. Expect future streams of some bonus stuff and future plays. And thanks for watching. And again, this is Ismortah, and I will catch you next time. Take care.